Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another show. We've got a very special guest today. You might recognize her. Star Wars Meg. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm still recouping from last night. Had a little bit of a party for the 1 year of Hangar Bay, and yeah, went a little hard.
Oi, oi.
Yeah, yeah, gotta, keep it light. So the reason I brought you on today is because you and I have differing perspectives when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes to the fandom, when it comes to the sequels, all kinds of different things. But we're both okay talking about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We could talk all night, all day, all night, till the sunlight,
Naughty, naughty Meg.
with a diet Sprite.
Is that Shakespeare?
I think it's bollocks. Shakespeare's brother. Bollocks Longbottom.
Bollocks Longbottom. I might get that tattooed on me. I kind of like that. That's my new nickname. I don't need Stash Rendar. Bollocks Longbottom.
Bollocks Longbottom.
So,
Then Bollocks Longbottom it shall be.
forever and always. So, like I said, we both like to talk about the stuff. We come from different areas, and you and I both make very different content. You're very professional. You do a very good and thorough job of bringing us the news, and I know you've kind of gone through a couple different iterations of how you make content. I'm horrible at it. I just like to yell at a camera most of the time, and for some reason, people listen to me sometimes. So I think it'd be interesting for us to kind of rap about how we feel about the Star Wars universe in general, how everything has progressed from the beginning of the sequels up until now with Disney, and just kind of say how we feel. How does the fandom feel more divided? Does it feel less divided? What are you thinking?
To that specific question, I
Mm,
guess you could say fans are divided, but I've noticed a big difference between like Star Wars fans on the internet and those who just go about their daily lives.
mm,
Like the hardcore ones on the internet tend to be the loudest, but they don't necessarily represent the majority of Star Wars fans.
mm.
And I feel like those are very different things. And obviously, there's not two distinct things. Both two things can be true at the same time. You find hardcore fans who don't engage in the online rhetoric and always looking at Star Wars leaks and news and everything.
Right.
Um, I would say we're a very divided fandom. We're a very noisy fandom, I would say. We're not as civil as Star Trek fans.
Are Star Trek fans civil? Because I feel, I've never been part of the Star Trek fandom, but every time I go in and I look about them talking about the new stuff and the old stuff, I feel like it's the same. It's the same as Star Wars.
Probably.
Probably.
I'm not qualified to speak on the Trekkies.
Were you not a Trek fan growing up?
My dad was a huge Star Trek fan. He hated Star
Same.
Wars,
What?
but he just thought it was really stupid.
Oh. Is that
I
why you
don't,
pushed to
obviously.
Star Wars so hard? Because you're like, screw
I
you,
loved
Dad.
Star Wars. I grew up with the prequels, so for me it was like I always like the silliness of Star Wars. That to me
Mm,
is everything. I
okay.
don't take it anally, as they say.
Right. And that was something, well, we're going to get into that later. I rewatched The Last Jedi today in preparation to talk to you because I know that's one of your favorite sequel films. But I know when it comes to the prequels, yeah, there is that kind of sense of silliness that goes along with it. It's a certain brand
Mhm.
of humor that really, I think, only Star Wars does well, where it's serious, but it doesn't take itself too seriously in kind of a weird way. And
Yeah.
we've seen so much news come out about Kenobi, and I was hype level 2022 for this. And as stuff has started to come out, it's not that I'm not excited for the show, but my hype levels have dropped significantly. And I know you kind of feel the same way, but why?
I do. I feel exactly the same way you do. And it's not so much that the story sounds bad, it sounds really good. It sounds like solid, what you'd expect for a TV show, a Star Wars TV show.
Mm,
And Deborah Chow helming it, we can ask for a better showrunner. It's more the fact that obviously I do this as a living, giving Star Wars news, so I'm always on top of it.
yeah,
But there's a part of me, the fan in me, that kind of wishes I hadn't known about any of it going in. And
right.
now that I know what I know about the show and what you know from hearing Making Star Wars talk and all of that, it's kind of like, okay, what's there actually to get excited about at this
Right.
stage? Especially knowing they're trying to avoid fan service in some areas, which kind of bothered me.
Right.
but
And
putting it heavy in other departments.
we
I don't want
won't.
to spoil it for people who are
I
not
was
on
gonna
top
say
of it. But
we won't go any spoilers into it, but I think it is interesting that you feel that way because yeah, it's not that, oh, I found out what the show's about and now I'm not excited about it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it could be cool. I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
I know exactly how you feel, and I guess I'm a bit apprehensive, and I don't mean to sound negative. I'm apprehensive after the Book of Bobby
Right.
because I call him Bobby.
They call him Boo Boo in the Discord, the Book of Boo Boo.
Book of Boo Boo, Book of Bobby, Book of Boba, Book of Boba, whatever you want to call him. But I'm a bit apprehensive because for me, we're going back to Tatooine, and it just felt so boxed in. I think my
Yes.
biggest complaint with Book of Boba, it felt so tiny. It felt like you could, if you kind of moved a little bit to the left, you could see the set edges.
Yes. And in
It,
fact,
it
they
didn't really
captured
feel
one in
like
frame.
Tatooine from the films.
They
They
actually
did.
captured, one of the buildings, the top of it. Whoops.
Yeah, I know exactly which scene you're talking about.
And so that's another concern, but I think it's kind of funny because this is where discourse starts to go kind of down the hole when it comes to Kenobi. Excuse me. But people are saying, we're traditionalists. We don't want to see Kenobi leave Tatooine. And then it's like, really? We're going back to Tatooine again? It's like, well, what do you really want to happen here? Like, if
I
he's
never
just
really saw
sitting
an
there
issue with
staring
him
at Luke.
leaving.
I didn't either, but apparently this is a big problem. I had an issue with Vader and Kenobi meeting again. That was a problem for me, but I've since gotten over that.
I think the good thing is Deborah Chow knows how to balance things, and in all of the interviews, she's clearly aware of the existing lore, how not to
Right.
break it, how to do things a certain way. Even with the Kenobi and Vader duels in the show, she's doing them in a way that's not actually going to break any sort of canon continuity.
And really all we had to go off of was just the line, right? A presence I've not felt since.
Exactly.
I mean, that was just kind of it. So, I mean, I got over that pretty quickly, but I know for a lot of people it's a problem, and especially him leaving, it's a problem. But we already know from just the trailer alone, we know he's leaving. So, yeah, I've moved on a little bit. Unfortunately, I feel like it kind of sucks because the show hasn't even come out yet, and I've moved on. I'm more excited for Andor at this point.
Me too. And you know exactly why I'm excited for it. It's the show I know the most about.
Yeah.
Andor is going to be the best Disney Plus show. I'm telling you this right now. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not excited for Andor. It's like, you will be, as Yoda says.
Well, nobody's excited to see Cassian. Everybody's excited to see the universe that's going on in that time frame. That's what I feel
Exactly. Like, forget Cassian. If you're not a Cassian fan, don't worry. That's not what the show is. It's not the only thing. It's an excuse to kind of show you what else is going on.
Exactly. They're like, well, maybe not a legacy character. Who's around? Well, Cassian. People like Rogue One. Okay. But we can use that universe.
Exactly. You nailed it.
And I did want to say hello to the chat. I'm sorry. I've been reading your chats, but I've been completely ignoring you guys. Hello, Star Wars Santa's here. Hello, my brother, Matt Rissman, Echo Base Network's in here. Andy, Yash, the French Yash is here. What's up, Dominic? That's everybody I can see right now. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So yeah, Andor, I think Andor was going to be most interesting because of the universe, but this is something that I had asked in Santa's stream earlier. Do you think they have a budget? Because I'm dying for it. I'm like, I don't want to say a drug words on here, but I'm fiending for a little bit of space battle. And I'm wondering if we're going to get any of that in Andor.
Oh, we are. I mean, if you look at the set leaks, they were all over the map. They filmed up in Scotland. They filmed in a castle in Surrey. They went, like, especially here in the UK, they went all over the place to film this thing.
Right.
They used forests. There's some forest scenery I've seen in the concept art. They've really gone for, like, the proper Star Wars cinematic. I think it's going to look the most Star Warsy. It's not going to feel boxed in. And what's really strange to me, going back to Book of Boba Fett, is I'm curious to see how, in the behind the scenes, how did they get the cinematography so off?
Yes.
Not always. I will say there were some beautiful shots, but when you compare it to Mandalorian, it was like night and day.
And then I feel like as soon as they got to the Mandalorian episode, the first one, the cinematography was back on point. At least while he was on the station, everything looked good to me. And then it just kind of, I don't know if it's the difficulties of trying to shoot in like a desert environment or what.
They had the budget. It was like 15.2 million per episode.
Jesus Christmas. Is that similar for Andor, or is this going to be a more highly funded show?
Good question. I honestly do not know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, they're doing a lot of filming on sets, which is awesome. I think that's cool that they're getting back to that because I love the volume and I love the stuff that they've been able to do with it. I always go back to the Ahsoka episode where she's on the planet with the burnt down forests. That felt super real. That felt like a set location. It was great. But for some reason, like you said, on Book of Boba Fett, everything feels kind of boxed in, and I don't know why.
Mos Espa felt like one street.
Yeah.
Very different feel to Phantom Menace or any other time we've seen it.
And I think when we're talking about the vibe of Rogue One kind of coming to the show, coming to Andor, something that always sticks out to me is that opening scene in Rogue One with the black sand and the farm and everything. It just felt super organic. It felt super real, like that was a real planet. And I know, obviously, in Scotland and the UK, there's a bunch of areas like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, a good ride. And the best part is it's 36 episodes broken up into 12 episode seasons. So season 1 is 12, season 2 12, season 3 12.
Jeez. Do we have any idea on runtime yet?
No clue. No idea.
Clue. Okay. Well, I think with 12 episodes, if they were to do 45-minute episodes, people would probably be mad, like, you didn't give Kenobi that much attention.
We'll see. I think the fan reception for Kenobi is going to be very telling of the direction of Lucasfilm. It's kind of a show they can't risk to fuck up, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's been what
I know
everybody has been saying.
don't like that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It is the truth.
And what happens if it does flop?
I have no idea, but I don't think it's going to be a good outcome.
No, I don't think so either. And that's what's kind of scary. This is like somebody, for me, at least in my eyes, when I see how the fandom talks about this show, everybody's kind of on their last nerve. They were super bummed about the Book of Boba Fett, and now we're coming into Kenobi, and people are like, this is it for me. If they mess this up, I'm a prequel baby. If they mess this up, I'm leaving Star Wars for good, you know?
I'm usually very positive, but I can't deny that a part of me will feel a bit pissed off.
Yeah,
more pissed off than
a bit knackered.
anything a bit knackered than anything else. It's two legacy characters, you know. Some people felt like they ruined Luke in the sequels.
Right.
So now if it's Kenobi's turn and Vader's turn to have that treatment, fans won't be happy, but I'm very optimistic.
Yeah.
But again, cautiously
optimistic. I think that's a good way to approach any Star Wars project at this point. It's such a weird change from us growing up, and every time a Star Wars project is announced, we're hyped, or like every time we're getting a new movie, we're super hyped. We go and we see it, and it's like, oh, that was the most amazing thing in the world. And then in another 3 years, you get the most amazing thing in the world to now I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not. And I'm worried about how the fans are going to react to it. That's just very interesting.
I have to agree with you.
And it's a bit of a bummer.
A bit of a bummer.
Which brings us conveniently on to our... God, we're like flying through these, dude. We're flying through our talking points.
I think some of these talking points might have a bit more depth.
Let's juice them. Let's squeeze them. Squeeze them like an orange. I'm good. I'm game to talk Andor. Orange. Yeah, because I don't have any of the information on Andor yet. And I haven't been sticking super close to it. I'm almost wondering if I'm kind of self-censoring because I'm so excited for that show that I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Kind of hard when you're a Star Wars YouTuber, though.
Exactly. We can move on. Plenty else to talk about.
I want to hear some... Do you have any cool, interesting, juicy details for Andor?
I do, but I can't actually say any of them. There's two things I'm holding off on.
Okay.
And I know they're probably going to leak at some stage, but it's too much of a risk because the kind of person, let's say my source on a couple of these, it's kind of obvious who would have leaked this based on which department they're in.
I gotcha.
But I will. It'll come.
When can we look forward to hearing about that?
Soon. Because Andor releases in August, so probably in the run-up to the final episodes of Kenobi.
Do you think are we getting a trailer at Celebration for Andor?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know some people
like a full trailer, because we had a sizzle reel, but this is like a full trailer.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of griping that we hadn't got it yet, and I'm like, dude, we were 2 months away before we got anything for Kenobi, really, other than that kind of weird sizzle reel that we got for Kenobi.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, the marketing needs to kind of pick up. We got those pictures today, and then
hmm
Jason and Making Star Wars said there'll be two 15-second clips. So hopefully sometime this week.
those
It's
two
looking
15
positive.
seconds, those are this week.
Apparently so.
Ooh, very nice.
Like short scenes, probably like Obi-Wan working on Tatooine or something to that extent.
Super exciting. It'd be good to see it though. So this kind of neatly tucks into when we're talking about how Kenobi's going to be treated, legacy characters, things like that. There's this big bubble over a lot of people's heads. Maybe it's just me and I just have the bubble over my head. I worry, can Disney ever fix the problem in fans' eyes? Because at this point, I feel like we've gotten to a place with the fandom where it doesn't matter what they do, it's never going to be fixed. You know what I mean? Like the damage is done with the sequels. They screwed up Boba Fett. It's over. And now we can't trust Disney to do anything.
I think there's two perspectives. The glass is half full and the glass is half empty. On the one hand, if you're half full, you could say, this is actually something very fixable, very easy to fix. In my opinion, it's as simple as give us the best Kenobi series fans could want.
Right.
It's not that hard to... I mean, it's difficult to please an entire fandom, but with these legacy characters, if you know how to write a decent show, you're familiar with Star Wars, you're at the talent level of Deborah Chow or Bryce or John or whatever, I think it's doable. And you could say the same thing about the sequels if they made like a series or a continuation that had a plan
like a
from the
Clone
start.
Wars-esque thing.
Exactly, but
yeah,
that has a solid plan from the start. You put the right people in charge. You kind of make a really decent story. You expand the characters so they're not paper thin. It's doable, but then you can look at the glass as half empty and say the damage is done. There's no going back from this.
right.
And because a lot of fans are going into these shows skeptical, naturally, it's understandable. That perspective might prevail in a lot of cases.
And then the question becomes, even if they give us this amazing Kenobi series, I feel like eventually Lucasfilm is going to have to dive into these characters, this universe that they created, kind of post-George era with Rey and Kylo and all that stuff. And I wonder if they give us all that good stuff, are fans going to be receptive to the newer, the whatever you want to call them, hardcore fans of Phantom Menace, whatever? Are they going to be receptive to that new material?
In terms of...
Just another story with Ben, another story with Rey,
Not at first.
Yeah.
Not at first, but the power of storytelling could absolutely make it happen. We often brand people who dislike the sequels in a certain way, but at the end of the day, there are many fans who liked elements of the sequels, but thought overall they fell short. So
Right.
if they can improve the character of Rey, if they can improve the universe she lives in, have bigger stakes to the galaxy, have her go through something really monumental in that time period following episode 9, you could eventually win over fans. There's a reason Star Wars fans are passionate. It's not like as much as they'll say, oh, I've given up. Have they really? I mean...
Right. Everybody that was going to move to Canada if somebody got elected, and they're still there, Same thing.
Similar kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I feel like a lot of people just love to be outraged, and especially passionate fans. They love to be outraged because they feel like they're protecting their legacy. And I totally get that. But my next question was going to be, how do you think they fix it? And so to you, would it be another trilogy?
Maybe. I don't think that's the right way to go at this point. I think they need to focus on the legacy shows being better. The Book of Boba Fett was going in a great direction. It had a few excellent episodes, but it was weird. Whether you loved it or hated it, it was a bit weird. Throwing in 2 Mando episodes, which were great, but didn't fit with the whole show.
Right.
So now I guess Kenobi is the next thing. And if they can get the basics right, then that could be a good stepping stone for maybe a trilogy, maybe other series. I'm surprised that not many people are talking about how good some of the original Disney Star Wars characters are. They have created some excellent characters like Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
There are some excellent characters in there. Krennic.
Love Krennic. And he's
Ramparts.
supposed to be back as well.
Oh, he is. Ben Mendelsohn. He's in the show.
Nice.
So is Forrest Whitaker, who plays Saw Gerrera.
For Andor?
Yeah.
Interesting. And there's a connection
finally see
there.
how he got his injuries.
He's messed up in Rogue One. I've been interested and I want to know about that. And I think there's a connection there for Kenobi as well, but I don't want to spoil that.
Oh yes. The O'Shea's character.
Yeah. I think that could be really interesting. And my gut feeling is that they're going to try to use this kind of, how do you describe this? I think they're going to try to use the Mandoverse for the next series of movies. Everybody all kind of tied together, but I feel like they're so fractionated right now in the way they're doing their stories. I mean, it's like, I'm okay with it because we're getting a bunch of different eras of content that all kind of bridge together. They kind of tie the whole Star Wars universe together, but sometimes it feels like they tie it together too much. And I'm wondering if you feel the same way.
It works with Boba and Mando, but it's kind of like, I wish they'd have given us like a heads up. I feel like the Book of Boba would have been excellent had they made it an episode longer. It needed a chapter 8, I think.
What would you have put in that chapter 8?
I would have teased a bigger syndicate. My story arc would have been, the Pikes are gone, there's this power vacuum, or a perceived power vacuum on Mos Espa.
Right.
And that's when they could tease Kira with the remnants of Crimson Dawn and whatever's left of Black Sun.
And it was missing
Boba
that
under
umami.
pressure.
Yeah, it was missing this kind of greater villain, right? It felt like Cad Bane maybe should have been there from the get-go, working with the Pikes, kind of in the background or something. Like there had to be some kind of big bad, and the whole thing just kind of started like a bottle rocket. It went shh, and then it just went all over the place.
I agree with you. I think the Pikes are such an odd choice. We see them everywhere. They're in the Bad Batch, they're in the Clone Wars, they're in freaking Solo, a Star Wars story. I don't know what hypnotized Dave to be like, you know what we should put in this show? The Pikes. And Boba's a big character. He was a minor character, but he's an iconic character.
Right.
In the legacy of Star Wars. Like, you don't give him the Pikes to be the main villain.
Right.
I thought that was the weirdest choice, which is why throughout season 1 I was like, okay, the Pikes are like a facade for a bigger syndicate that's coming. And that aged badly, obviously.
Yeah, I just don't think it landed. It felt kind of haphazard, and I don't know if that's due to maybe some reshoots and rewrites, because we know that they had reshoots for sure, and they added stuff in that I think ultimately made fans probably happier. I know the Sarlacc pit was something that they definitely went back and they added some stuff in for. So
all I know is that Tamora Morrison was not pleased with the outcome. That is something I've heard. I've heard Tamora Morrison, he's not going to say it publicly, but he was not happy about the way the show turned out.
Right. Yeah, and there was some stuff that came out in an interview where he's talking about it, and he's like, I'd call him and say, hey, I don't think I should be talking this much. Maybe I should have the helmet on and be talking a little bit less. I don't want to say these lines. And it's like, too bad.
Right. That was like a clue into his psyche, his thought process.
Yeah. All I could think about was poor Mark when he was doing the tour, and he's like, I don't think people are gonna like this Luke Skywalker. I don't think that people are gonna like him, but nobody wants to listen.
I remember that video. It's like 8 minutes of Mark Hamill warning fans about the sequels, or something like that.
That's like one of my big criticisms about the sequels, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I thought this was interesting. I wanted to bring this up from the Matt Cave, good channel friend, the homie. He said the push to mimic the MCU was Disney Lucasfilm's biggest mistake, in my opinion. It just doesn't work the same way.
He's absolutely right. Yep. I hate this kind of Marvelization of Star Wars. Every time it kind of feels like it's pushing on it, it's like they don't get it. They think all sci-fi, all space opera, all fantasy is the same thing. It's like, let's treat it with the same glove. It's just not the same animal.
And the verbiage was it was like verbatim for if you listen to any MCU pitch. They're like, and our characters are all going to culminate in one massive cinematic experience. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about, do you? I didn't like it.
No.
I didn't like it at all. Okay, where's the banner? Yeah. So can Disney ever fix the problem in fans' eyes? I think we both agree, yes, but it's a rocky road, right?
Very rocky.
But it can be done. And there's nothing more in this world than I want than just to see. There's never going to be a harmonious fan base. I don't think that's ever a possibility, but at least I feel like there's a way to appease the hardcore old fans and bring in new fans without alienating some of the older fans, you know?
And they were kind of on the verge of it with The Force Awakens. Just kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. They had that kind of glimmer of hope. But then...
I mean, it was a new hope. That was what Force Awakens was.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, it was
a
lot
new
of
hope.
people call it a rehash, like a heavily inspired remake.
Heavily inspired remake. Yeah, we can call it that. It's when you put them side by side, it's pretty glaring. But I understood what they were trying to do. They were kind of trying to freshen things up, give that old timey feeling. You know what I mean? But for me, I came out of Force Awakens okay, and then I went into The Last Jedi, and that's where I just lost it. I completely lost it.
Do you want to get on to the Last Jedi talk?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I feel like this is something we can spend some time on.
Can I tell you my impression when I came out the cinema?
Yes.
This is my biggest L, as they say.
Okay.
This was my biggest, my worst. I would say my worst prediction ever made. Because I saw The Last Jedi, and even though I didn't love everything about it, I literally came out the cinema, or as you would call it, the movie theater, and I was like, you know what? This film is going to unite Star Wars fans.
Whoops.
And boy, was I wrong. I went on the internet. And
the world is on fire.
There's a really good video. Exactly. There was a video that's still up there called The Last Jedi is Amazing and You're All Insane. And even though it's very clicky, very hyperbolized, the guy makes pretty good points as to why I actually enjoyed it compared to the other two, which I hate. Like, I can't stand Force Awakens and Rise of Dick. But The Last Jedi is the only one I can stand. And I think that the person who made the video articulates exactly what it is. It's not that I love how they treated Luke. It's not that I love any of Ryan's decisions, because I kind of felt like he was selfish in a lot of ways. I will criticize The Last Jedi where it does need to be criticized.
Yeah.
But it's more the fact that I liked how fresh it felt. Because I came out of The Force Awakens and I was like, okay, they're just trying to recreate George's magic, but
right.
the essence doesn't come with the ink, as they say. And then The Last Jedi was just like, okay, well, this is something completely new. And
right.
The reason the Rise of Skywalker sucked for me is like JJ spends half the film retconning episode 8. So I was hopeful that Ryan had a plan.
There was a literal pissing contest, like just playing out on screen between those two guys. And it feels disrespectful as shit to me. And this is something we can agree on when it comes to the sequels. The Rise of Skywalker to me is just like, that was an affront. It was so bad. Not just from a Star Wars fan's perspective, but like a storytelling perspective as well. It was just, it was like a bad video game.
It was a kick in the tits.
Yeah.
An absolute kick in the tits. If you look at that video where the actors react to the ending of the film, Anthony Daniels, the legend, C-3PO, has the best facial response to Rey Skywalker. It's just a look of pure disgust.
Is it really?
Of course, Star Wars Santa was applauding with tears in his eyes and a boner in his pants. He couldn't stop crying and applauding. He ran to the store. He was like, give me every Rey Funko.
Oh no, Santa. What is this?
He told me that in confidence.
I still think all the sequel trilogy movies are any of... Whoa.
Oh no, Santa.
I will send you to Jesus.
That is a cancelable take.
That is rough. That is rough. Oh, now he's in here trolling me because I'm always trolling him, man. So, yeah, we can agree. We've clearly still got some of our sanity left. I know it can get pretty lonely up in the North Pole, so maybe he's, he's coping with some stuff. I don't know. But when it comes to The Last Jedi, I think it's definitely the most interesting of the 3 movies because, yeah, it was super polarized, but it was polarized for different reasons, right? Some people were super mad about the way that Luke was handled. Other people said that it was just an SJW nightmare, which I didn't get that feeling. I was just pissed about the legacy characters, and I rewatched it again today, and I still can't get over the treatment of Luke. I can't.
You know what? I'm with you there, but here's the thing. The issue with Luke is JJ put him on that fucking island. And I swear to God, I'm not trying to defend him because he's a dickhead in real life, but Ryan Johnson did do the best he could with that character. I don't see what else, because if you have Luke take the lightsaber and be like, oh, this lightsaber, great memories I have with it, and he goes on this big space adventure, it's like, where have you been the last 28 years?
Yeah.
So I feel like they had to give some credence to the fact that Luke is here for a reason. And it's kind of the same grievance Mark Hamill had. He hated that, but he came to terms with, well, at this stage, what else can we do? That was the original script. And it just goes to show JJ was all about like that big cliffhanger ending without any kind of idea what he was going to do next.
Yeah. And there did seem to be a cohesive plan missing from the trilogy, which seems odd to me that you would have possibly the largest cinematic release, the most anticipated, and the most important, and there's not a plan from A to Z. Like, why? What do you think happened there?
I'm so exhausted with that kind of conversation, just because it was a shit show from the start, and I think it really highlighted, I hate to be one of these people to say it, but Kathleen Kennedy might be a great producer, but boy, did that expose some of the leadership problems within Lucasfilm in those years.
Yeah. And it would seem to me that they're attempting to rectify it, but a lot of people, I mean, I used to be one of the Kathleen Kennedy freakouts, right? God, I hate that woman. Oh. And then I had the chance to actually sit down and talk to some people about how Lucasfilm is structured and how the people are hired and what their jobs are. And like, you're looking at the wrong person. She wasn't helping anything, but you're looking at the wrong person.
Exactly. No, I agree with that. I think a plan from the start was essential for any Star Wars trilogy. It was like the bread and butter of George Lucas's plan. He's like, I know how this ends. I know what needs to happen in the first installment, the middle installment, and how everything comes together at the end of the arc.
It's disgusting, really. It's quite gross. Star Wars Santa with a very, very generous $20 donation. Admitted, X-Wing, you secretly covet your Rey Skywalker yellow saber. You cuddle it in bed to comfort yourself when you're scared. What the fuck?
It's a big yellow stick.
Lies. Deception.
Thank you.
Thank you for your donation.
Santa's obsessed with Rey. He finds her more appealing than Anakin as a character.
It's just shocking. It's shocking to me. I don't get it. And that's something I went back and when I watched it today, I was really looking for the story points that people are like, this is the stuff that you should like about it. And the deeper I got into it, I will say this, I'm nowhere near as mad about that movie as I used to be. I used to be super pissed about the movie. I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't look at it. I'm like, just get that corn out of my face. Going back and watching it this time, it was more kind of objective. What do I like and I don't like, and for what reasons? And for me, the entire premise of the ship chase is what kind of struck me as like, this is bad. This is a bad plot for Star Wars.
Are we talking about episode 8 or?
Yeah.
Which one? Is this the one on crates or the beginning one?
No, this is the one where they're just puttering right along in space, and the First Order's just behind them, but they can't quite get to them because they're lighter.
The Holdo maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was shit writing. Again, I'm not defending every decision of the film to say how I feel about it. I liked the aspects that were like, fuck this, here's something new.
It was a bit avant-garde, right?
A little bit.
But, and here's what's interesting, when I was watching it, I could tell there was a lot that he pulled from Empire as well. I mean, look at the Battle of
pulled
Crate. That's Hoth.
so much from Empire.
Yeah.
He not only pulled from Empire, he pulled from the comics, Dark Empire, the Legends comics from back in the day.
What did he pull from? Because I'm not a comic guy.
The literal standoff between Luke Skywalker. Can you show the screen? Because I could send you it right now.
Yeah.
It's like this gorgeous shot of Luke on a different ice planet. It's not Hoth. It's not Crate. And he's facing off. I'll try and find it. But
So
no, he did
literally
take
the scene on
inspiration.
Crate.
Basically, that he did not. That was not an original Ryan thought.
I think still the most. There's a couple aggravating moments in there, but the one that still gets me, I found myself like scoffing when it was on screen today, was when Rose Tico slams into Finn to stop him from going into the cannon. And then they're just standing in front of like a massive armada of like First Order walkers, and there's troops everywhere and all this different stuff. I was like, are they not going to shoot them? What are they doing? And then he just shows up at the front door with her on like a freaking just dragging her along. Like, how the fuck did he get back there?
A lot of the movie, I guess, relies on convenience.
Right.
And while that's kind of inevitable to a lot of Star Wars,
yeah,
I think it's kind of more exposed in just the way the film was written,
right,
and directed.
And it's like the opposite of, I feel like in The Rise of Skywalker, everything is explained to such depth. Like, how did they get the dagger? Well, they had to go to this planet, and then they got the dagger. And then once they got the dagger, there's writing on the dagger, but they can't decrypt the dagger unless they take 3PO. 3PO can do it, but he can't do it unless he's deprogrammed. It's like, fuck.
I think the minute you start thinking deeply into it, it presents its bare ass.
Yeah, a bit.
A bit too on the nose.
Yeah. Daryl the Derelict with another donation, $5. I want a Star Wars show that will make my lightsaber stand at attention, not a sad rehash. Give me space battles and Slave Leia. Hail Hydra.
Thank you.
Thank you for that donation. Yeah, I'm almost at the point now where I feel like I want my Star Wars stories to be a little dumbed down almost. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy. Just give me the basics. Let's perfect the basics, and then you can move on once you have the basics down and start doing some crazy stories.
I guess that's where I would say they are doing that for some shows, like what's it called? The Bad Batch. I think The Bad Batch does that perfectly.
Right.
It's a very, very simple plot.
Yeah,
and it works.
It's very.
There are some hit and miss episodes, but generally it works.
They're serials, right?
Exactly, which is what Star Wars originated as.
Yeah, exactly. George Lucas wanted something that, he could watch when he was growing up. The Buck Rogers. Oh, here we go. I got your thingy. Do. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a little on the nose. Okay, here, let me share that.
This is from 1992. You can't tell me Rian Johnson did not take inspiration from this.
This is from 92.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Now, people would, people...
Oh, fuck off, Siri. Sorry.
Is that your girlfriend?
No, Siri. Like Siri on my iPhone.
Oh, is she yelling at you?
My girlfriend's not called Siri.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know. Kira?
You never know.
Sira?
No.
So, Bad Batch, what's interesting too is Bad Batch is one of those, I did the watch parties every single time one of those episodes came out. Stayed up until midnight, watched it, and then I was super bummed at the ending. I'm interested to hear your take on the ending. What did you think?
I got a lot of crap for my opinion on the ending. I loved part 1, and then part 2 was just a complete
Thank you.
burger.
Yes. I'm like, why didn't they end it with part 1? They bomb out Camino, and that's it.
The ending of part 2 was cool with Mount Tantis.
Yes, but that could have been like a credit scene at the end of part 1 and
True.
good to go. X-Wing has a crush on Omega. Omega? No. You think she's force sensitive?
Probably not.
Because otherwise, she's just kind of doing the Rey thing where she just gets really good at something after trying it once.
I don't want her to be force sensitive, though. There's too many of those characters who are nobodies, and then, I can use the force, and then... I kind of want her to be like Boba.
Okay.
Go through a lot of trials and tribulations, experience the Empire, running from it, maybe join the Rebel Alliance. I want her to have like a different sort of hero arc and not just be force sensitive and then meet Ahsoka or something.
Well, and she's got to die, right? Unless she just fades into ambiguity.
I don't think she has to die. She's not got accelerated aging.
So where would she have been during the events of everything?
So where was Ahsoka in the originals? Where's Grogu in the sequels? Where's Din Djarin?
I guess we're gonna have to get more Disney Plus shows to find out.
Exactly. Eventually, all these characters will die, but they created a character, Grogu, of a species that lives to be 900 for a reason.
Right. Money. No, I'm just
It'll be
kidding.
2138, and we'll get a Grogu show, and then fans will be like, why hasn't Grogu aged? They'll be like, well, they age slowly.
Yeah, he's gonna die in a hut on Dagobah, and they're gonna be like, that was a callback to this old show called Star Wars. Probably. I don't know. Yeah, so I guess in the end all be all, it just seems like we've entered a different time in Star Wars where as older fans, it's so crazy to call myself an older fan. I was like a prequel baby, but that's kind of where we're heading. Like as an older fan, we're kind of used to getting one thing when it comes to Star Wars. Like we get our movies and then maybe a show that's got George Lucas involved. And then now it's like they're releasing 16 different types of content and you're not forced to like every single one. I feel like there's going to be stuff for certain people, stuff for other kinds of people. And I think
exactly
the hardcore fans are kind of consuming everything and being like, well, that was shit, that's shit, that's shit. It must all be shit.
Yeah, I would say stick to the things that appeal to you. I know Star Wars Visions, for example, isn't everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of Visions. There were some cool episodes. I will say that. Look, I'm not an anime person. I've never been an anime person. There were some cool stories in some of the episodes. And then there were other ones like, what was that one called with Boba Fett?
Oh, Tatooine Rhapsody.
Tatooine Rhapsody. Sent me out of my chair, aggravated, just like, this is so gross. I hate it so much.
Here's the thing. I'm not an anime fan. Maybe like when I was in my teens, I watched a couple of them, but I have no interest in anime, but I did like Star Wars Visions. I had a lot of fun with it. Again, the silliness.
There was some silliness. I know Santa's favorite was Toby, right? TOB1.
Oh yeah, TOB1.
He loves that TOB1. That was another one. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't know. I would like to have something else. You know what would slap for the prequel fans? Something that I don't know why they haven't done yet is make a show called The 501st, or make a show called, Clones, something, I don't know, something brief, and just have a military show about clones going through combat. It doesn't have to have Jedi. It doesn't have to have like anything crazy, It could just be clones fighting on different planets and stories about loss and brotherhood and betrayal and deception and stuff like that. I think it'd be awesome.
I think there's a show called The Clone Wars. You should watch.
No, I'm aware of that show.
Someone said I've got an anime avatar. It's not anime, it's just how I look like. Sorry, not aware of ethnicities, but
she's very matte in real life. Yeah.
I'd call it animated, not anime.
She's very okay. All right, there you go. That works.
Sheev the Wise got a face reveal the other day.
I Someone gifted me a face reveal for you. It's just
It
like
was
got a
Rissman.
DM. Yeah.
Rissman, you, and Sheev are the only 3 people who've seen my face, and it kills Santa.
Oh, does it?
He can't stand that.
I'm gonna rub that in his face consistently. I thought I saw him getting a little red on the stream the other day when I was like, yeah, and you were like, yeah, X-Wing saw my face, and he's like, well, she's my friend. I love you for that, Santa. I'm sorry.
Santa's the best.
He's a good dude. He's a very good dude. And I'm still waiting on this dude from Spain to finish his custom blurg. It's taking this guy forever.
Oh yeah, Santa and his blurgs.
Oh, he loves his blurgs. Ooh, you know what? That's something that we've never sat down and talked about. Star Wars toys. You're a collector, right?
I would call myself an avid collector of prequel memorabilia.
What's your favorite collectible that you have?
Probably my Yaddle and Evan Peel. It's very simple, but
The Legacy Collection one?
yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
stupid, but I can't think of any toy I have that I prefer.
Have you collected any like ridiculously expensive stuff?
In terms of like,
I don't know, a master replica saber or something like that.
I have stuff from Star Wars, like from the sets. I
What?
don't have. I've got a Tusken mask from Mando.
What? Where did you even find that?
It's a long story.
I've got time.
But in terms of collectibles, I like the sideshow Darth
Yeah,
Maul. I've got the
Sideshow's
sideshow
awesome.
Darth Maul.
yeah. Those are pricey, dude. Those are really pricey.
They do. I think the worst collectible that I spent way too much on was the because there was the sideshow Grogu and the Hot Toys Grogu. I got the sideshow one.
Mhm.
It's so unimpressive.
Is it really? So the sideshow one is the stationary one, and then the Hot Toys has the magnetic ball and stuff, right?
Yes, exactly, and the
Yeah.
exchangeable hands and
Yeah.
things. But no, I think the sideshow one, the color is way too bright. It's like really, really green.
Really?
His neck is really long, like strangely long. And there's too much blush in his face. Like all of these little things just make him look really like someone really tried their best but didn't make it.
It's a try-hard statue.
It's a try-hard statue.
And that thing's like $300.
Yeah, it was $369.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get it then, because I was sitting there like trying to figure out if I was going to eat for the next month or if I was going to get that sideshow statue. I chose to eat, luckily. Jedi Scum with a $20 donation. Just want to congratulate you again, X-Wing, on your 1-year anniversary. Thank you, brother. You've always been so kind to me. Hi, Meg. We've talked on Twitter before, and you've always been friendly. Thank you. Love your YouTube content.
Thank you, my friend.
You've
I
got a fan.
recognize the username. I've
Yeah.
seen their comments before.
Jedi Scum's he hops on the Hangar Bay every once in a while, comes and talks with us. Well, we're glad to have you here, man, and thank you again. Yeah, 1 year at Hangar Bay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generous contribution to
X-Wing.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm big into the helmets and I'm big into the ships. I have way too many ships, but the one thing I've had my eye on forever that I haven't gotten yet is the Sideshow 501st with the 332nd helmet. Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
Oh my god, I want it so bad, dude.
Where would you put it? Let's say it arrives tomorrow, and you got to decide what you're going to do with it.
I'm out of room, dude. I don't have anywhere to put anything. I've nailed as much stuff to the wall as I can at this point, but there's like Power of the Force Bantha just like sitting on a table over there because I don't have anywhere to put it. I have a Holdo. That's the only sequel memorabilia I have is a Black Series Holdo.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
didn't even know that existed. I know I've got the Funko of her because I collect Funkos as well, and it was dirt cheap. So
I have this weird like obsession and hatred and love for Holdo. I don't know why. I just thought it was such a divisive character that like I'm obsessed with it now.
Amelin Holdo, they're expanding her in the comics at the moment. She
Really?
was supposed to be like Leia's best friend.
Of course. Have you noticed a trend where if there's something that people don't like, they tie it in to something original trilogy, and they're like, "Look, see, it's been around. See, you should like it." Have you
It's
noticed
always
that?
cringe.
The Halcyon?
Like retconning. Oh, the Halcyon's the worst.
They're
With what's his name? Han Solo and Leia's wedding.
Mm-hmm. And Bosk, apparently now there was a comic coming out where Bosk has been on there, and
Yeah, War of the Bounty Hunters had Bosk being like chopped in two or something.
yeah, I don't know. I just wish they wouldn't do that. I think I'm ready for new story. This is why I'm excited for. So I only read one High Republic book. I read Into the Dark or something like that. It was the Claudia Gray.
That's one of them.
Yeah, it was the Claudia Gray book, and I thought it was a pretty good Star Wars book. Like I said with Last Jedi, everybody was screaming that it was this like massive SJW pile of garbage, but it really wasn't. There's like a line where somebody talks about having sex, and then one chick references having a wife at one point. That was it.
I haven't read the book.
You haven't?
I know
okay.
that. I know there are. Isn't she related to the old guy from the start of The Force Awakens?
Oh, Lor Santeca?
Yeah, I think she's a Santeca.
Yeah, they go into the whole Tekka clan stuff in the High Republic.
Exactly.
Which is cool. I mean, that was something else that never got expanded on that I thought would be interesting. I was sure that guy was going to be so important.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way for General Hux and Phasma, and then they made Hux a joke. It's like, I'm the spy. It's like, no, you're not. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
like the minute Snoke died, you were having a hissy fit.
You killed trillions of people. Like, come on. You're the spy? I don't know.
And this is why Star Wars Rebels does it right with Agent Callus.
Yeah.
They actually build up this questioning of Imperial indoctrination, and eventually gets out. But I don't know too much about the High Republic. I did not enjoy Light of the Jedi.
I didn't read
It was
that.
not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I did one book, and I was like, okay, that was pretty good, but I'm just not really interested in it. But now we have this Acolyte show coming, and ooh, Lord, is Leslie Headland pissing people off left and right.
I always try to separate the art from the artist, so I'm keeping an open mind with Acolytes, and I'm quite excited for it, to be honest. But I know she's a bit of a polarizing figure, considering her connections to what's-his-face.
Connections to who?
Harvey
Dent?
Harvey Weinstein.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean that, and then there are a lot of people who say like, well, she's on record saying I just want to interject my sexuality into the show and stuff like that. And
I think that was taken out of context. I know what they're referring to.
Okay.
It was taken out of context. I'm not going to lie. Like, to be fair to her, that was more just like, she's gay and she wants representation, which is completely fair. And if she's got a show, why not do it if the characters are interesting? But but I would say the more problematic side is the silencing of women when she was working directly for that guy.
That I don't know about.
There's a whole thing on Wikipedia or anywhere. It's all over the internet if you look hard enough.
Okay, I'll have to do some research on that tonight.
Someone did a good documentary on it, and I think it was after the Gina Carano firing.
Ooh.
And they made a video where they kind of go through all of these people who are still employed by Lucasfilm with like a genuine shady history.
Oh. And then Gina got fired for a tweet, but you got the Harvey Weinstein's accomplice rolling around making TV shows. I could see how that could piss people off. Yeah, for sure. Well, on the story side, I think Acolyte could be very, very interesting. Oh, Robot Head is the YouTuber. I just got a DM for that. Yeah, I like Robot Head. He's got some funny videos.
It was Robot Head.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Australian guy.
Yeah. I like his intro.
Yeah, that was him.
ET foot coming down. Anywho. Yeah, from a story perspective, I think it'd be cool because we haven't really gotten any self-contained dark side stories yet. I kind of wish they would have done like an Old Republic Sith. Like it would have been really cool if we'd have gotten a Bane. I feel like that would have been a cool way to start it.
Yeah, there's so much potential with dark side users that have been in in the books, in the expanded universe. We just haven't had it on screen. Even Higo Damask, Darth Plagueis, we haven't had anything acknowledging his story in canon. Maybe like one reference book acknowledged the name, but not really.
Well, I mean, Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, like in the Disney era.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's that cool line from Revenge of the Sith.
I know, but I mean, like under Star Wars Disney.
Right. Yeah. I would love to see that. And that story, dude, we've talked about this ad nauseum on like my Hanger Bays and some of my Boomer councils. If they would just do the Darth Plagueis book, and then what was it, Tom Hiddleston as a young Palpatine? Wait,
I suppose.
Tom Hiddleston? Not Tom Hiddleston. Was it Tom Hiddleston? I don't know.
No, it was Matt Smith.
Who's Matt Smith?
The Doctor Who guy. The guy who was literally employed for episode 9, and then they were like, nah, sorry.
Matt Smith is Plagueis.
No, as Palpatine, like a young Palpatine.
What?
He was meant to be a Palpatine.
He's got
clone.
ears that come out to here, though.
I know, but you could say the same about Alden Ehrenreich and Harrison Ford. He might have just like embodied him well.
Right.
Just the spirit of the character.
I gotcha. Yeah. That. Ooh. I don't like that. just so everybody knows what I'm looking at here. This is what I'm talking. This is the right guy, right?
Yes.
As a young Palpatine.
I think as a young clone version of Palpatine.
I gotcha. Wouldn't that be Rey's dad?
Exactly. I think he never like explicitly said the character's name, but he heavily implied it's to do with Palpy.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I was thinking something like a little more, little gnarlier. I don't know. The real Palpy, and then Plagueis running around. I think that guy would be an awesome Plagueis, dude. You don't even have to add that much stuff to his head. It's already so tall.
But, I mean, Plagueis is a moon.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's got a very tall head already.
But you know how Disney feels about tall heads. The Grand Inquisitor. A very well-rounded character.
Well-rounded. He reminds me of Ryan Johnson. Suck up all-headed bitch.
I don't see the resemblance with Ryan, but...
Did you see the new pictures that came out today? Of course you have. The new Kenobi pictures?
I did. I covered them on my video. Sorry, I'm just dying because someone in the chat is called Nick Avocado and they just came in screaming.
That was a long-standing theme in the Hanger Bay. We all had avocado at the end of our names. I don't know if that's somebody. Hello. I don't know that we know each other.
But Nick Avocado's he's an actual YouTuber. He used to be a vegan YouTuber and he gained all this weight when he started eating meat, and he's just like a drama channel. And I think that's what the person was parodying.
I gotcha.
But it's funny because just screaming the word is exactly what that YouTuber does. Seeing that in a Star Wars discussion was pretty funny.
Fair enough. I'm so out of the loop, man. Ooh. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry, I don't mean to leave you. Talk about PG.
PG Tits. The best brand of tea. Yeah, that's the one, Ronnie, a mukbanger. Eating like tons of food in a very short period of time.
Okay. Possible emergency. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to end the stream. I apologize.
It was great talking to you.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We've been wanting to have this for a while, so glad to have you. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody in the chat. I really appreciate everybody being here, and yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
All
right.
right.
My pleasure.
Everybody, take care. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day. May the force be with you always. We'll catch you on